The team was formed in 1985. There was an advert put in the local paper for, firstly for players, and they had a bit of a turnout, and then eventually the same local paper ran a competition to have the name of the team set. It makes us the second oldest senior American football team in Britain, which is quite surprising for a place the size of East Kilbride, because obviously you've got Glasgow nearby, they've had a team but for significantly less time, and so on and so forth. At one point there were something in the region of 20 senior teams in Scotland, but they kind of died away in the 1990s in particular. So the mid-90s was a bit of a kind of dead spot for the sport, and a lot of the teams fell away, and it fell down to the point where there were only 2 teams left in Scotland. Then eventually, when it started being shown again on Sky Sports, the popularity gradually increased. And right across the country there have been new teams springing up, and every year at the sort of league and governing body AGMs, they talk about the numbers of players, the numbers of teams involved, and the sport at the moment is really peaking in popularity. And I think things like the NFL International Series of Games, which they've held in London for the past 3 or 4 years, has had a big impact on that, because it brings the sport closer to home, and suddenly people start asking questions like, oh, you know, can you play that in this country? And the next thing you know, we've got extra guys emailing you and coming along to training, and it makes a massive difference, because recruitment and retention of players is a huge challenge that every team faces, and if there's basically massive international spectacles that are doing the job for you, then it just makes it much easier for us. Traditionally, the Pirates had a youth and junior setup, which folded years and years ago, probably I would expect again in the 90s when the game sort of dipped in popularity, and it's long been a kind of dream of ours to get that back up and running. Firstly, because it introduces young people to another sport, gives them another option, and let's be honest, in the west of Scotland, you know, health and kind of fitness is a kind of priority for a lot of local councils and organisations. The physicality of the game is different, because it's not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. You know, the idea is just to put yourself in the way of other people, and sometimes, you know, in a kind of an aggressive way as possible, in order to enable your teammates to do what they need to do to score points. So it's got a level of aggression and physicality that you don't find in many sports. If I had one dream, it would be that we had our own facility in East Kilbride, custom built for American football, which we could share with other sports. You know, I mean, third generation AstroTurf pitches are what most of the indoor football team play on. And if we had something like that was also marked out for American football, that had the posts, that had the facility to entertain spectators, then we'd be in a really, really strong position.